Boogeyman bin.
Hey everyone, it's BoogeyMan. I hope everyone's doing well and everyone's having a nice 3-day weekend. This video is going to be a little bit different, but as everyone knows that, has come to my channel and watched my videos for a while now, I'm a huge comic book collector. I've been a comic book fan since I was about 3 years old when my mom bought me my first comic book, which was The Incredible Hulk. And that was because I loved the television show at the time. It was the first thing I remember liking as a kid. So, I do a lot of, most of this page or this channel is about horror films and horror collectibles and anything related to the horror genre. But I also like to talk about comic books. And I just saw X-Men Days of Future Past, and I thought it was a fucking fantastic film. I absolutely loved it. It's my favorite film that I've seen this year. Just absolutely love the film, and it's one of my favorite superhero films of all time. I can easily say that, and I'm sure people that have seen the film would agree with me. But then I started thinking, what are my favorite superhero films of all time? Now, I know I did a video talking about my favorite Batman films, and I've talked about other superhero films in the past when I've talked about, my top 10s for the year and things like that, but I've never actually just sat down and put together my favorite superhero films. And it being one of my favorite superhero films of all time, I started thinking about what are my other favorites. So, in no particular order, I'm going to go through these, and I hope everyone enjoys this. Please stay tuned. So the first film that is one of my favorite superhero films of all time is 1989's Batman by Tim Burton, starring Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Kim Basinger, Robert Wuhl, Pat Hingle. Just love this film so much. I remember when this movie came out in 1989, I had just finished my freshman year of high school, and this was the film to talk about that summer. Ghostbusters 2 had also come out that year, and I was, I went and saw that opening day and absolutely loved that film, but Batman was the film that everybody was talking about. And I remember my buddy Mike Dodson and I were collecting the little movie cards. It was like little, I think it was Topps that was putting them out. It was movie cards, and there was so much stuff at the comic book store I was going to at the time, which was Pinole Toy and Comic, and they had everything Batman, and they were talking about the next movies in the series. So it was, the summer of '89 was Batman. And I remember, I think I saw this movie 3 times in the theater, 2 or 3 times in the theater, and it was just, every time I went and saw it, it was just fucking fantastic, and it made me a Batman fan, because at the time, I kind of liked Batman from, the Super Friends, and the times that it was, there was Scooby-Doo meets Batman and things like that. I loved the character, and I loved the Joker, and seeing this film was just fantastic, and it will always be one of my favorite superhero films of all time. One of my next favorite superhero films of all time is The Avengers. I've talked about this film before when I did my top 10 of 2012. I absolutely love this film. This was like a living comic book to me. As a kid, I used to love Avengers comics, and, when all the characters would team up to fight evil, like in Secret Wars or the Infinity War. Those were some of my favorite comic book series growing up, and I have all those comics still. And this was just one of those films that just reminded me of that, and I just thought it was perfectly written, perfectly directed, perfectly cast. I was a bit apprehensive about Mark Ruffalo playing Bruce Banner, because I had loved Ed Norton in The Incredible Hulk, and I was mad he wasn't returning. And I had loved Mark Ruffalo as an actor, but he was perfect as Banner. I loved him in this. I love the Hulk. I think the Hulk steals the movie, but everybody plays their role perfectly. Black Widow by Scarlett Johansson is perfect. Thor is perfect in this. Of course, Robert Downey Jr. does a terrific job as Iron Man, and then, of course, Captain America, Hawkeye, everybody in this movie, Nick Fury, everybody is perfect in this. They all serve a purpose. It's a terrific story and an excellent movie. Awesome. Next one on my list is a movie I've never talked about on this channel, and that is Blade 2. A lot of people will be surprised that I actually like Blade 2 more than the original Blade movie. Now, when Blade came out, I knew the character because I had collected the comics Night Stalkers. Blade had his own series spinoff after that. I knew that his appearance had been in Tomb of Dracula, so I knew who the character was when I found out Wesley Snipes was playing him. I thought that's excellent casting. I've always been a fan of Wesley Snipes. I thought the first Blade movie was fantastic. When I saw Blade 2 just took it to a whole new level. This movie is just fantastic. I think a lot of it has to do with Guillermo del Toro, who's just a fantastic filmmaker. You have an excellent cast. You got Ron Perlman, Norman Reedus, and of course Wesley Snipes as Blade, and I just love the whole concept of this. I thought the vampires that they're going after in this are just completely creepy. I thought the effects were great. It's just the fight scenes are terrific. I just think this movie upped the ante of what the original Blade was, which is what a sequel is supposed to do. And by doing that and getting an even stronger director than Stephen Norrington, who did the first one, I think you have a better film. And you made a better film than the original. And I absolutely love Blade 2. I saw this movie twice in the theater. Absolutely loved it. The next film I want to talk about is The Incredible Hulk, which came out in 2008. I absolutely hated Ang Lee's Hulk. I was so disappointed in that movie. Just being a Hulk comic book collector as a kid, and that was like the first comic book I ever really collected, and the first superhero character I ever loved. And loving the television series with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, which I own the entire series, and one day I will talk about that on this channel because I absolutely love that series. And then for Ang Lee's Hulk to be such a disappointment, I thought everybody in that cast, with the exception of Sam Elliott as General Thunderbolt Ross, sucked. It was just a horrible film. When they announced that they were doing a new Incredible Hulk movie with Ed Norton, I was like, oh, awesome, because I love Ed Norton as an actor, and that it would be part of this new Marvel series of films that was going to lead up to the Avengers. I said, oh, awesome. But this film got so many things right, and I'm so disappointed that Ed Norton was not able to continue in the role as Banner. Even though I love what Mark Ruffalo has done with the character, I was very disappointed that Ed Norton was not cast in the Avengers, but, again, that's a whole other story that I won't get into. But this movie is fantastic. Got so many things right that the first Hulk movie did not. And I think this movie didn't do better because people had such a bad taste in their mouth from Ang Lee's Hulk. But this movie is fantastic. It pays homage to not only the comics, but the terrific Lou Ferrigno, Bill Bixby TV series from the 70s and 80s. Everything about this movie is just fantastic, and I like this movie more than Iron Man. It's really close in terms of tying with the Avengers for me. This movie is just fantastic, and I wish more people had seen it, and I wish they would make another Hulk movie because this one is just fantastic. It got everything right, in my opinion. Next on my list is X2, which came out in 2003. For the longest time, this was my favorite X-Men movie. Absolutely love this movie. The first X-Men movie I enjoyed, and because it set the stage for what the next films would be. But this movie got just so many things from the comic books that I loved. It had characters like Colossus and Pyro. It had more of Iceman in it. Of course, Wolverine is even bigger in this movie. There's just and Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler, can't say enough great things about Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, who has always been my favorite X-Men character, and I'm mad that he hasn't been in any other X-Men movie since this movie. But there are rumors he will be in the next X-Men movie, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we do get to see Nightcrawler again and that Alan Cumming does play him. But X-Men 2 is just fantastic. Great story, great action. Just absolutely loved this film when it came out, and it's still one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. Next, we have another X-Men movie, X-Men First Class. Until X-Men Days of Future Past came out, this was my favorite X-Men movie. I liked X-Men Last Stand. I was a little disappointed that Bryan Singer didn't come back. There were some issues I had with choices for some of the characters. The Wolverine movies, I actually enjoyed the last Wolverine movie quite a bit. The first X-Men Origins Wolverine had its issues, but I still enjoyed it. But this movie, I still think, is what put X-Men back on the map after Last Stand and X-Men Origins Wolverine. This is just a fantastic movie. Excellent cast. James McAvoy, Jennifer Lawrence, Michael Fassbender, Kevin Bacon. You have just a fantastic cast, and it really made the characters that we'd come to know from the previous X-Men series come to life, and us to be able to identify with them, like who they are and why they came to be who they ended up in the first series of X-Men movies. And I think this is just a fantastic film. And next to X-Men Days of Future Past, these are my two favorite X-Men movies. So, excellent movie. If you haven't checked out First Class, you need to go check it out now. Next up is The Dark Knight Rises. I've talked about this movie quite a bit. It was, again, my top 10 of 2012. Was my favorite film of that year. This is my favorite Batman film of all time. I absolutely love this film. I don't know why some people are critical about it. I like it more than The Dark Knight, Batman Begins. Every Batman film is inferior to this one, in my opinion. And this is one I saw 3 times in the movie theater. Absolutely loved it. Love all the cast, and I think Christian Bale is fantastic in this movie. I think this is his best performance as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and I love Tom Hardy as Bane, Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. Everybody in this, Michael Caine as Alfred. I mean, I think he's just fantastic, and everybody in this just brings their A game. Morgan Freeman as Lucius. Everybody in this film is just fantastic. There's nothing bad I can say about this film. It's exciting. It's sad. It's just got a perfect balance of action and good writing, and just a fantastic movie all around. So one of my favorite movies of all time. Next up is Man of Steel, which again, I don't understand why some people don't like this film. This fucking movie is fantastic. Every time it is on TV, I own the Blu-ray, but every time it's on HBO, I'm watching it. No matter where it picks up from, it could be the last 10 minutes of the movie, I'm watching it. I fucking love this film. This is my favorite Superman movie of all time. I don't understand why some people are so critical of it. I'm actually really looking forward to the next film, which will be Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, which is the official title that they came up with. I think it sounds terrific. At first I was a little bit upset that they weren't going to make just another standalone Superman film, but I understand what they're trying to do. You know, they're trying to build the Justice League movie. They got to start somewhere, so I'm hoping that the filmmakers won't steer fans wrong, because, as I said, I think this is a fantastic film, and I hope that the sequel is just as good, if not better. I think that Henry Cavill is a perfect Superman. Everything about this film is just terrific to me. The music by Hans Zimmer is just fantastic. It's a score that is probably one of my favorite scores of all time. But yeah, I don't understand why some people were so critical about the action in this film. It's an action movie. I know that it's a different type of Superman movie if you want to compare it to the Christopher Reeve movies. But in the end, it was entertaining. It was fun. And I think it had a great message and a great story. And that's all you can hope for in a film sometimes. So yes, absolutely love Man of Steel. Best Superman movie in my opinion. And the final film I want to talk about for our favorite superhero movies of all time is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, which came out in 2004. To give you a little backstory about this before I talk more in depth about the movie is I was a huge Spider-Man comic book fan growing up. I actually just sold off most of my collection just because I quit collecting the comics. Just wasn't into them. I got more into comics like Walking Dead, and I still collect The Incredible Hulk and Batman. Those are the comics I really collect right now. But yeah, I just got out of the Spider-Man ones. There's still a couple of books that I'll pick up on Spider-Man, but I don't have it as part of my collection anymore, except for about 100 books from my original collection that I kept because they were ones I didn't want to sell. But when the first Spider-Man movie was announced, I was so excited I think they announced it back in 2000, 2001 when they were shooting it, and then when it came out in 2002, I remember seeing it in the movie theater a couple times. I loved it. But then when Spider-Man 2 came out, this movie just is the best Spider-Man movie ever, in my opinion. And I haven't seen the new Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I really don't plan on seeing it because I hated The Amazing Spider-Man, which came out 2 years ago. It was such a stupid move on Sony's part to reboot that series. I know a lot of people had problems with Spider-Man 3 that came out in 2007. Despite some issues I had with storytelling in that, I really didn't have that big of a problem with the movie. I don't think it's a horrible film at all. I think it was they tried to cram too much into a film, and I think it would have been better if they had split it off into 2 films. But again, that's what Sony Pictures wanted Sam Raimi to do. So he did what he was supposed to do with that, and, then they decided, because people weren't happy with it, that they would reboot the whole series, and I'm just I think it's completely stupid. With Batman, it made sense, because after Batman and Robin, you have to reboot it. That movie just kind of destroyed that franchise. I don't think Spider-Man 3 destroyed a franchise at all. I think it was kind of misdirection, but I think they could have picked up with a Spider-Man 4 and fixed things. But no, they wanted to take the lazy way out and start it all over again. So again, I'm going off on a rant here, but this movie is the best Spider-Man movie. I love Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I like Andrew Garfield as an actor, but in my opinion, Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man. This movie has so much heart to it. The thing that made this movie so great is that you're actually with Peter on his quest, and the whole thing is that you're going through what he's going through in this film. and you feel sorry for him. It's a very emotional film, even though it's got some terrific action. I thought Alfred Molina was perfect as Doc Ock. He is just awesome in this film, and I thought that it just has you. But both characters you feel for. I mean, even though Doc Ock is a villain, you really feel for the character just the same way as you feel for what Peter's going through in his life during this film. And I just think that Sam Raimi had the perfect balance in this. It's a fantastic film. It will always be my favorite Spider-Man film. And I really think the groundwork that he laid with the first three Spider-Man films, even though, given that Spider-Man 3 wasn't as well received, I think it was a shame that Sony just decided to take the easy way out and start the series all over again. It's a waste. Last one I'm going to talk about is Spider-Man 2. Absolutely love this film. It's still the best Spider-Man movie in my opinion, and I think it's a shame that they had to reboot the series and take the lazy way out. So again, that's my picks for my favorite superhero films. I hope people enjoyed this video. I know it's a little different here, but I like to change it up a little bit and do some different things because I do have other things I like to talk about, just even though horror is the main thing that it piques my interest. But I do like comic books and superhero films, and I like to talk about ones that I hold near and dear to my heart. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Please share your thoughts in the comments below and let me know what your favorites are. If you agreed with some of my picks, if you didn't agree, that's fine. I'd like to hear what everybody has to say. So I hope everyone has a great rest of their 3-day weekend. I do plan to do some new videos coming up soon. And I hope everyone looks forward to those. So I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Take it easy. Peace.